Hello friends, my name is Mohammed Hasib, and you are watching Hasi TV English. It was a time when ignorance and darkness were spreading in Europe and the governments were ruled by the Christian Pope. If any person, after research, would have spoken anything new, contrary to the Bible or popular superstitions at that time, then his situation would have been like Galileo, who would have been imprisoned or directly killed by calling him an irreligious person. The city of Baghdad gave the world such Muslim scientists during this time, on whose inventions all the inventions of today are based. But when the Mongols attacked the Abbasid government in 1258 and shed rivers of blood in the city of Baghdad, they also threw all these research and scientific books into the river, which made its water black for several days. This attack completely destroyed Baghdad, and according to Storin, about 1 million people were killed within this time. The whole city was burnt. Apart from this, Baitul Hikmah, which was the stronghold of countless valuable historical documents and books written on subjects ranging from the medical field to astronomy, i.e., So Nomi, was completely destroyed. The Caliph was arrested, wrapped in a blanket, and horses were run over him. With this defeat, the rise of the Muslim Ummah and the era of knowledge and wisdom ended forever. While Europe got the same knowledge and started more research on it. And after that came the era of the Muslims, and these kings kept their people ignorant forever and took advantage of this ignorance of their people and kept them as their slaves forever. But do you know that the Mongols, before these attacks, the Muslim kings themselves did not value their philosophers and scientists. Instead of honoring and valuing the most intelligent scientists in the history of the world, they insulted them, and Muslim scientists were humiliated because they were more famous than the king. They questioned their ignorance. Today, we Muslims proudly mention Muslim scientists and their inventions, but perhaps none of you know the painful fate of these Muslim scientists by the Muslim kings themselves. It is not told. Exactly the same treatment that the Christian popes of Europe during the Age of Ignorance did to the intelligent minds of that age, a few of whom we are about to mention here. So let's get started. Ibn Brishti. Ibn Brishti was a very intelligent philosopher, mathematician, expert in astronomy, expert in the art of medicine, and a religious figure. The foundations of the philosophy that exists today in Europe were laid by Ibn Brish. He was born in the present-day city of Cordoba, Spain. The Spanish Caliph Al-Mansur of the present Spain rewarded his services in such a way that he burnt all his books and imprisoned him by imposing a fatwa of disbelief on his philosophical and logical thinking. In the same detention, when he tried to escape, he was tied to a minaret of the Jamia Masjid and told to spit on his face. After a few months of detention, he finally went to the center and died there. He wrote many books on Aristotle's philosophy, which have been translated into various European languages, apart from Latin and Arabic. Ibn Brisht's basic theory was that the human mind is only a kind of knowledge acquisition machine. It acquires intelligence from the universe and gives it practical form. Man is not born intelligent by himself, but intelligence is exactly the same in all. The theory of two brains and intelligence is completely wrong. Ibn Brish wrote many books on law, logic, Arabic language law, astronomy, and medicine. But the Muslim king gave nothing but humiliation and disgrace to this intelligent mind in the last part of his life. Yaqub ibn Ishaq al-Kandi. Al-Kandi is one of the most intelligent personalities and Islamic philosophers of the Islamic world. And apart from philosophy, he also excelled in mathematics, medicine, astronomy, and one of the important achievements of Al-Kandi is the achievement of the Islamic world through the ideas of Hakim Ar-Fatu. Apart from this, he wrote many high-quality books on mathematics, medicine, philosophy, logic, music, and geography, and he was also proficient in Greek and Syriac languages. He wrote more than 260 books on various topics. Among them, he wrote 32 medical books on numbers, 22 books on philosophy, 9 books on logic, and 12 books on medicine. After the coming of Caliph al-Mutawakkil, the superstitious army people made his life difficult. The Caliph even ordered that his library be confiscated, and within 60 years of age, this great and intelligent man was publicly flogged 50 times in the bazaar of Baghdad, with the crowd cheering at each lash. And make noise. After this great humiliation, this great thinker went into a life of great anonymity. Ibn Sina, or Abhi Sena, is a famous doctor and philosopher of Islam who was a resident of Iran, who is considered one of the most important thinkers and writers of the Golden Age of Islam during the reign of Caliph Harun al-Rashid. Today, medicine is called medicine after the name of Ibn Sina. He is known as Sina in the Western world, while his title was Sheikh al-Rais. He was such a great personality that he wrote about 450 books, out of which only 240 have been published. Among them, 150 books on philosophy and 40 books on medicine are included. The vizier of the Iranian city of Hamdan had appointed Sina as his minister, but he was killed by nationalists and religious fundamentalists who were unwilling to think beyond the ideals of the time, and because of the enmity between him and the Caliph Ibn Sina. He had to leave here and go somewhere in the wilderness. He kept stumbling across Darbadar because his own people became the enemies of his life. They were called ungodly, and a fatwa was issued to kill them, saying that they are infidels and polytheists. He also wrote the most famous book of medicine, Al-Qunun fi Tab, in his soul, and spent the rest of his life in the city of Hamdan. Al-Razi was also a very intelligent doctor, like Bu Ali Yassina, and for the first time in history, he clarified the difference between measles and smallpox, introduced the method of extracting liquid from objects, also introduced ethics within the medical field. But his modern ideas were too difficult for the closed-minded people of the time to accept, and it is said that the vizier of Bukhara was so enraged by the words written in Al-Razi's book that he ordered his book to be copied by him. Hit the head until either the book or the person's head explodes. And that was exactly what was done, and after that, Al-Razi was blinded forever due to this suffering and died in that condition. Ibn Khaldun, the founder of the knowledge of history, Ibn Khaldun had mastered Quran, Hadith, jurisprudence, philosophy, literature, and history at a young age. He got a lot of fame and knowledge and grace. The king of Talisman respected him a lot and appointed him as his scribe. And for some reason, he got so angry with him that he put him in prison. After 4 years, when the king died, Ibn Khaldun had to be released from there. That is, arrived in a province of present Spain. No one knows their fate after that. Until the 19th century, Muslims were not even aware of his name. But when the people of the West mentioned his deeds, his deeds came before the world, from which it is quite clear that they were not only given at that time, but as regular enmity. An attempt was made to erase their name from history, which was not possible. After the invasion of Baghdad by the Mongols, the way the Muslims suffered intellectually, they could not come out of the darkness of ignorance again. The Mughal emperors also had no attachment to knowledge, wisdom, and science. These people themselves were ignorant and kept their people ignorant as well. On the contrary, these people added new innovations to the religion and spoiled the religion. They fell into luxury and worldliness. While Cambridge University was established in Europe before the invasion of Baghdad by the Mongols in 1258, while Oxford University was established in 1996 and Harvard University in 1626. The Mughal emperors were enjoying themselves, building extravagant buildings and palaces. And at that time, 800 to 900 years ago, these universities were producing scientists, while within the same period, 800 to 900 years ago, Urs was built on the land of India. We were going, let's leave India. In today's time, look at the education in the Arab countries. Why couldn't a Harvard or Oxford University be made Muslim even within 900 years? Don't these people have the capital? We know. It is not even the case because these Arab princes have so much wealth that if they send one of their watches or even one of their gold cars, a whole university or college can be built with it. But we see. That did not happen, and this is what has kept us far behind in science and technology. Today, we Muslims consider the destruction of Israel and America and praying for them as our religious duty, unfortunately, not to gain knowledge. Why, until today, we have not been able to replace their education? Why do we always have to boycott their products? Why don't we market our products to them, without whom they cannot live? The simple answer is that preferences. Acquiring knowledge is not included in our preferences or our priorities, because knowledge brings people out of the darkness and gives them the light of consciousness, and that person can never be a slave. That is why throughout history, rulers have always tried to keep their people, deprive them of their rights, so that they can never gain consciousness, so that they are forever slaves of this state, or kings from the Mughals. The earlier kings. This is what the Mughals did to an extent, and after them, this series continues exactly the same. And if this series continues in the same way, then in the future, the Muslims will be in the field of science and technology. Anyone, there is no future, because God never changes the condition of a nation that does not have the idea to change its condition by itself and does not make an effort to do so. May God give us the grace to understand and do good deeds.